Hi everyone, I'm Will Brown and welcome to WP Quickies, bite-sized WordPress tips and tricks in 30 minutes or less. Today I'm going to be looking at WebP images in your WordPress website. So thanks for taking your time to join me this very dark, gloomy and thundery Sydney afternoon. So if you hear some crash and bangs in the background, that'll be the thunder, not the cat, although we don't have a cat, so I'll be a bit surprised about that. So thanks for taking the time. Welcome to everyone from Sydney, from Australia, from those overseas, and those who are watching on catch up as well. Drop me a note in the comments. Let me know who you are and where you're from. And we'll do some hellos. So we've got Jonathan. That's all right, Jonathan. These are all on replay, so it's all good. We've got Future Shock from Marrickville again. These are some of our regular viewers. Thank you so much for taking your time to spend with me this afternoon or wherever you are. So David from Wollongong and Mr. Miapus from the CBD and Joey J from Singapore, all of our regular viewers. Thank you so much for joining in. If there's any new users, before we start, if you want to hit the subscribe button down below, if you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook, because we are broadcasting on our Facebook page, just give us a like and that'll be fantastic. So thank you for doing that. I'll give you a few seconds just to let everyone come in and join us. Kerry from Beverly Hills in New South Wales, not USA. I thought maybe you'd moved. Not quite the same weather as Beverly Hills in the USA today anyway. Maria from Washington State in the USA. Well, thank you, Maria, for joining us. I hope you guys are having a great time over there in America just now. And Norman Jessup says hello to everyone. Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for joining. In the comments, you can chat to each other in the comments if you like. Kerry from Wollongong. So we've got two people from Wollongong today. Excellent. That's really cool. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about WebP. Now, WebP, I've been kind of moving some of my client sites and my own sites over to WebP over the last couple of months. So I thought I'd do a quickie on this and just to let you know what it's about. Okay, let's get started, I think. So we're going to try and finish on time today. So a little bit of history here. WebP, what is it? Well, on September the 30th, 2010, yes, that's right, I did say 2010, Google released an open source image format called WebP. I'll copy some links in here. Don't worry about the links. If you can't get them, if you're watching this on replay, I'm going to post all the links underneath the comments on Facebook and YouTube afterwards so you can easily get to those. Hi, Dean. Thank you for joining us. Long time no see, Dean. We're looking forward to getting some physical meetups later on in the year. So Dean's one of the teaching staffs at Ultimotive, and I've known him for many years now. So thank you for taking your time, Dean. So back to WebP. Let's go. Yep. So September 30th, 2010, Google released an open source image format called WebP. The format, it was designed to replace JPEG, PNG, and GIF image formats. So WebP itself, it achieves probably around about 26% better lossless compression ratio than PNG, and a better lossy ratio ranging between 25 and 35% for JPEG. Now, it doesn't always work out like all these different formats. Sometimes it depends what's inside the graphic. So if you've got lots of colors and lots of distinct images and vectors and things, if you squish something down using a WebP, sometimes it's going to come out higher than it is on a JPEG with like maybe medium or large compression. So don't take it as a given that if you're going to squish something into a WebP, that's always going to be a smaller format. However, the stats say it's a pretty good chance that you will get a lower file size in comparison to JPEG, PNG, and GIF. And so furthermore, the WebP actually does support transparency. Now, Google says it only increases the file size by 22% if you use transparency for that. And that's better than PNG, which is up around about 40% if you're adding transparency onto that. Now, Google themselves, they claimed that when they switched over YouTube thumbnails to WebP, then it actually resulted in a 10% increase in page speed. Now, I think they mean 10% faster rather than a 10% more speed. So just using all WebPs for that. So that's pretty good. And I've got a link to the blog post down there if you want to go and read that. But being over a decade old, WebP is meant to be superseded. That's replaced by something called Avif. I don't know if I pronounced that right. AVIF. I'll paste a link there in the comments. So the Avif, it's meant to replace WebP, and it's a relatively new format. But considering WebP is still considered an emerging format, the Avif is very, very, very early doors. So you can read a little bit about it in that link down there. But that's a story for another day, I think. Okay. So WebP and browser support. Let's start there, shall we? Because obviously, if you're going to be moving over your WordPress website images to WebP, you're going to want to make sure that it's going to be supported in lots and lots of browsers. The WebP is supported by most current versions of the popular browsers. Now, I've not got an image for that. I thought I had, but I must have misplaced that one. So it is supported by most current browsers, although Safari has a few known issues with rendering for that. I'll just remove that. Sorry, I'm just getting little notes coming up from here. So if you're planning to switch over displaying WebP images across your WordPress website, it's safe bet that your site will render fine in the majority of visitors, whatever browser they're using, with those little sniggles in Safari. And if you follow that link I've just posted, it doesn't seem to have posted on the Facebook page, but I'll post them all later, all these links. So apart from Safari, it works pretty much flawlessly on all the major browsers with the current versions. And if you follow that Can I Use link, it shows you all the different browsers, all that there are, and what compatibility rates it is. So it's up about, so according to that article, from global browser support is about 92%. So about 92% of all currently widely used browsers will support the WebP image. So you're going to be fine for compatibility from a web browser point of view. So one of the reasons you're going to switch over to WebP is, of course, speed. Due to the significant reduction of WebP file sizes, at least 25% smaller over JPEG, GIF, and PNGs, your page's overall speed, of course, is going to decrease. So that's a +1. So your load speed is going to decrease by about 25% as well. And that's a +1 for Google. If you've got lots and lots of images on your page, that is, it's going to be a significant a decrease in load time and an increase in speed for your website. So definitely speed is probably the main reason you want to switch over to WebP. Where to use WebP images? Well, you can use them pretty much anywhere, of course. Anywhere you've got some images on your website, you can replace them. Where to start? I would probably recommend that you start replacing existing images on your homepage and your marketing landing pages. So your homepage is probably going to be your most frequent page that people land on. And then additionally from that, it's probably going to be your marketing pages, your marketing landing pages that you're maybe targeting with Google ads or Facebook ads to try and get some traffic and some conversions for that. So start on those two types of pages. Run a page speed test, so something like GT metrics. Run that first, then replace some WebP images, and then do another performance check on that and see how much difference you're getting for those page speed tests. If you could increase your landing page speed, you should see a benefit ripple through to your search engine result pages without any additional technical SEO efforts for that. So just replacing the web with WebP images, you should see that little bit of performance increase in comparison with your competitors on similar pages for that. So after your homepage and after your landing page, I would recommend you maybe go down your list of top performing posts according to Google Analytics and give them a little bit of an SEO nudge up the rankings with replacing all your images with WebP. So that's my recommendations on where to start. Homepage first, then your marketing landing pages, because they're usually the two pages that have the most images. And then your most popular articles, because that's where you're getting all your traffic. If you make them faster, they should be able to go up in your rankings. And then you can go through all the different pages on your website, all your blog articles and other stuff like that. Conversely, where not to use WebP images? Well, when sharing a link of a post with a WebP set as a featured image, I found that the top social media platforms struggle sometimes to generate a thumbnail preview. It's not all the time, it's intermittent. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Now, if you're scheduling posts through a third-party system like Buffer or Hootsuite, I've had better results, but still sometimes inconsistent for those social networks generating that thumbnail preview. So at present, I'm still using JPEG images for my featured images on posts for my own websites and for my client websites. So my JPEGs are at medium or 8 quality for all my blog posts at the moment, just until I can narrow that down as to why those social media sites aren't generating those preview links, because they say they are compatible with WebP, but again, I found that little bit of inconsistency there. So you may struggle to share WebP images with clients as well. So when not to use WebP images. So if you've got a client site, if you're asking them to provide images as WebP, they might not know what that is, or they might not know how to do that. And conversely, if you're sending them WebP images, then they might not be able to open them properly or view them or edit them properly. And I guess the third place not to use WebP images is in email marketing. Now, you may think twice before using WebP images, email marketing, due to rendering conversion of the images on mobile devices. So I have a link here. Maybe it's the next page, is it? Oh, there we go. Awesome. So this is the email. I'll just paste a link there. That's the same link there. I'll make that a little bit bigger. Boom. There we go. So this is the WebP image format. These are great little websites. This one is Can I Email? And it tells you all the platforms that support different images and stuff, embeds and iframes on email. The one I used before was Can I Use, which is browser-based. So these are lovely little websites. This one here, it shows you the WebP image format in which email clients are supported for those. Now, the ones in green, they have full support. So you can see those are the latest ones for Apple Mail, Gmail on desktop, mobile, iOS, and other mobiles, and Outlook as well, so Microsoft Outlook. Now, the ones in red aren't supported. So for Outlook on your old Windows, so that's not Windows 10, it's anything less than Windows 10, that's not supported. The ones in the orange, that's interesting. They are semi-supported. And what they tend to do is, rather than display the WebP image, they actually try and convert the WebP image into a JPEG or a GIF or a PNG, depending on what they do. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And that's why those are shown as orange. But in general, you got pretty good support, but not complete support. And that's why I'm saying in email marketing, if you want to make sure that your message gets across to everything, then I'd probably stick with GIFs or JPEGs at the moment until Gmail gets all that stuff sorted. Okay, so getting to the crux of it, using WordPress with WebP images. Now, WordPress does not have native support for WebP images. Now, the reason for that isn't anything to do with the WordPress team. It is more to do with PHP. So there's a bit of a lack of support with the PHP image libraries. Now, there's two image libraries that pretty much everyone uses, which is called GD for general. Actually, I don't know what that is. GD and ImageMagick. So those are the two PHP libraries that are used when displaying and converting images when you're using a PHP application like WordPress. So there's some issues with generating WebP. probably more for the PHP 5 version of those rather than the PHP 7 or PHP 8 libraries. But because WordPress, still has a huge following on 5.6, I think, then and because of those technical limitations, then the core team are struggling or unwilling to build WebP into the WordPress native media manager at the moment. So what that means is that you're going to have to use a plugin to extend the media manager's capability and handle those WebP images. Now, there are 3 plugins that I recommend which add WP support to WordPress itself. So let's have a quick look at those. The first one here is ShortPixel. Let me just copy a link in there. That didn't work. Copy and paste. There we go. So ShortPixel, for that one there. So it's a popular WordPress image optimization plugin. So it doesn't just supply WebP access for WordPress. It goes a lot further, and so it optimizes. It compresses your WordPress images in the media library, but it also allows you to upload WebP, and you can preview them as well, and WordPress understands what they are. And it real time can swap a JPEG for WebP as well. I think what this one does is, I think when you upload a JPEG and a PNG, it actually creates a WebP image in a separate folder, and you can specify where that is. And then using CSS, when somebody is looking at that page, if there's a WebP image, it'll swap it out. Otherwise, it'll bring in the original image and display that as well. So there's that kind of backward compatibility as well for all your visitors. Now, there's a free plugin, and it limits the number of images that can be compressed or converted to WebP to about 100 per month. And so if you're not a big blogger, if you're not adding huge amounts of pages to your website, the free version of this plugin is absolutely fine. And of course, you can upgrade to a paid plan to increase that number. The next one is Imageify. I'm not quite sure how you meant to pronounce that. But this one here, I'll just copy the link. There it goes. This works very similarly to ShortPixel. So again, it's a WordPress plugin that compresses and optimizes images. So it's not just a WebP plugin. And it also has settings to convert, just like ShortPixel. It has settings to convert existing JPEG and PNG images into WebP and serve them to your website visitors kind of dynamically as well. If the WebP exists, it displays it. If not, then the backup version for JPEG and PNG will be sent out to your visitors. And again, similar to the last plugin, this is a free version, and it limits the number of conversions. Off the top of my head, I can't remember how many. But of course, you could sign up for a paid plan for more. Okay, the last and third plugin for WebP today is WebP Converter for Media. I love these plugin names that plugin authors come up with. I think they're fantastic sometimes. So this one here, I've used this on a few of my websites with pretty good results. So this, all it does is it adds WebP access to your media manager, which means when you drag and drop or upload a WebP image, then WordPress recognizes it as an actual image, and it'll display a preview of that image as well. So pretty simple. There's not very many options because it only does that kind of a media manager extension for WebP. But as I said, I've used that on a few of my websites, and it seems to be working pretty fine. I upload a JPEG and it converts it to a WebP, and then I can go back into Media Manager and select WebP for all those images on the homepage, the landing page, and additional images on my blog posts as well. Some issues for using WebP. So even though the WebP format has been around for over 10 years, over a decade, as I said earlier, it's still thought of as an emerging format, which means it's not natively supported by everything at all. So JPEG is still the most popular web image format, with about 89% of all images being used are JPEGs on on the web at the moment. So it's still got this huge following, and WebP is, I can't remember the stats, but it's nowhere near JPEG at the moment. So it's not got that native support. It's not got that huge support, and that's why people are saying it's still like an emerging format, even though it's 11 years old, which is a bit crazy. So here are some of the issues off the top of my head that I've come across with using WebP images in the past few months. The big one for me is Adobe Photoshop. So Adobe Photoshop does not support WebP images on its latest CC version. However, there is a plugin that can provide that support. So there's a link to the plugin. So if you're an Adobe Photoshop user and you're interested in using WebP, grab that plugin. It's a zip file. You download it. It's got instructions, and you add it to your plugins folder in Photoshop folder in Windows. And next time you boot up Photoshop, then when you do file save as, you'll see WebP at the bottom, and it comes up with compression ratios as well. I leave mine at 75%. So yeah, that was a big issue, because initially I was thinking, how do I generate WebP? Where do I save WebP as? But as soon as I got this plugin, yeah, that was fine. I was able to generate that. Now, I'm not sure what the support is for open source Photoshop similar type applications. So I'm not quite sure. I didn't investigate further than that, because I use Photoshop. But it'd be interesting to see if anyone uses any other photo editor that has WebP built in, or you need like a plugin or an add-on. WebP itself, I'm a Windows user, so I was quite happy to find that WebP is recognized by Windows 10, but it's kind of recognized as a Microsoft Edge association and not from Media Player or by the photo app. So what it means is, when I'm looking at a WebP image in a folder in Windows, then I can see the thumbnail, so I can see what it is, which is great. You obviously need that. But when I double click on it, it opens up Microsoft Edge and then displays the image. So if I open up Photos in Windows 10 and try and drag one of those WebP onto it, it doesn't know what it is. It comes up with the cross bar. And similar with Media Player, it comes up with a whole variety of media encoding errors. So still a bit of work to do on that from the Windows operating system. And again, lastly, I'll just again kind of reiterate this social media platform issue that I've been having. It might just be me, it might just be my post, it might just be my WordPress setup. But definitely I've found that when I just go onto my WordPress website, I go to a blog article, I copy the link, go into LinkedIn or Facebook and just press paste. You know, you usually get that little Ajax spinner, and it generates a thumbnail image preview of the featured image. That's not happening in 100% of my shared posts. So yeah, that's still a bit of an issue, I would think. Okay, so that's it, a quick quickie. We're up at 25 minutes. So as a bit of a conclusion, using WebP images on my website homepage and my marketing pages has significantly increased the speed of those websites according to GT metrics. I'm as well getting about a 10-12% performance, because I've got quite a lot of images on landing page. So that's a +1, a thumbs up for me. And I observed some modest SEO ranking improvements as a direct result with no additional technical efforts. And that was mostly on my landing pages, but my homepage did go up to 2 rankings as well. And I didn't do any other SEO. So I'm presuming that's as a direct result of just replacing JPEGs with WebPs. And just with Photoshop, so once I had installed WebP plugin, then with Photoshop, it was fine. I could generate those WebP images. And once I had that WebP plugin for WordPress, then drag and drop, and the Media Manager instantly recognizes them. So overall, I had a good experience with migrating my most of my sites over to WebP, and the SEO and the performance, the speed as well was a significant increase. So yeah, I think it's well worth trying out, maybe on a couple of your websites, see if you get the same performance for that, and let me know in the comments below if you did or did not, and that'd be great. I'll circle through some of the comments. I know there's a couple of questions here. See if we can answer these in time. Scroll. David, Affinity Photo, I can't see an export for WebP. Yeah, so I think this is going to be one of the common things. Even though it's 10 years old, there's still not this huge native uptake because there's not that demand, because JPEG is still the most popular. There's not been that big uptake in WebP. So I think a lot of these native apps, you're going to probably need to search for an add-on for that and test it out with that. Let's see if there's any other. I thought there was one further up here. There we go. Jonathan asks, could there be issues with image-based plugins such as NextGen Gallery and Meta Slider? There could be, Jonathan, and that's a great question. However, if you're using one of those plugins that I mentioned, one of the 3 plugins before, what they do is, well, certainly the first 2, maybe not the third one, but the first 2, what they do is they actually hook into WordPress and they change the way that WordPress serves images to the browser. So what they do is rather than use the image, because the image IMG HTML tag, it doesn't, I still think that doesn't natively support WebP as in regards to fallback, but they use something called a picture HTML tag, and that is ability to serve WebP and also do a fallback on different media sources for that. So if you're using one of those 2 plugins, the first 2 that I mentioned, it's all done under the hood. And plugins such as NextGen Gallery and Sliders, they shouldn't notice any difference because those plugins should inject that particular HTML code into the background in real time to swap your WebP with JPEG and PNG. But that's a great question. Thank you, Jonathan. Another couple of questions down here. Joey asks, WebP support color profiles like sRGB and Adobe RGB? That's a good question, Joey. I don't specifically know what they support. I guess if you look through that very first link I sent, so the Google WebP info, that'll tell you the technical specifications of the WebP image format, and that should list what it supports as regards to color depths and color definitions. Oh yeah, so Jonathan just posted that same question. Thank you guys. Yeah, so that's my roundup of WebP and how to use it in your WordPress website. Again, I had a pretty positive experience moving my websites over. I got a quite good performance increase. I got quite a little bit of an SEO performance, and the only real issue was generating the WebPs in the first place from Photoshop and those sharing of links. So I need to do a little bit more testing just to see if it's my setup or if it's something to do with that WebP issue. But thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today about WebP. Next week, I'm going to be talking about database synchronization. Well, it's not really synchronization. I guess you guys probably all know that you can't really synchronize database. But I'm just going to go through why you can't and some of the options that you can get if you're wanting to move your database from your local up to development or staging and production. So some of the best practices for moving database data around for that. And again, as always, please suggest a topic for these WP quickies, so I can queue some more up over the next weeks and months. There's a link down below in the video description as a QR code on the screen there just now. I'll just leave that for a second. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 seconds. Good. And as always, just a little shout out for WPAustralia.org. So if you're looking to find out what meetups are happening across Australia, and some of them are now getting back to physical meetups, which is great. You'll be able to find a meetup on WPAustralia.org, as well as a link to join us on Slack. So if you haven't heard of Slack, it's like an IRC, Internet Relay Chat on steroids. There's lots of different channels that you can go on to, things like WordCamp and Meetups and Code Help and Plugin Help and all that sort of stuff. There's a whole lot of us WordPress developers, designers, and experts and newbies as well that hang around on Slack, so we can just answer questions and have a chat and just kind of be social and get to know the community. That's me. Happy for you to connect with me. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Developer Will, on Instagram at willbrown_AU and Twitter at developerwill. Just drop me a note, let me know that you connected with me via the WP quiz. Yep, and that's all for this week. So thank you again so much for joining me. And keep an eye out on meetup.com because we're starting up the big WordPress Sydney, the WP Sid meetups in the evenings. Again, they're going to be online for a little bit until we can get something sorted out with venues and vaccines and all that good stuff. Okay, guys, so thank you so much, and I shall see you next week for another WP Quickie. Thanks for watching.